commending and, in fact, recognizing the tremendous partnership that Nigeria has with the World Bank, the major development partner, and of course, they have given us the NGU every 6 months or so. But let me leave us in no doubt. The main contribution we get from the World Bank, apart from the thought leadership, is the very cheap funding that they provide us through IDA, and we'd like them to continue and to give us more of that to boost us on our way. Having said that, we all saw the figures. We've all seen the progress from, I think it was May 2 or so in 2023, when there were worries that the economy would even go over the edge to where we are now. And where are we now? Stability, macroeconomic stability, which needs to be safeguarded. We've heard very clearly. But the key thing is this. We saw from the red areas on the chart that there is a need still to really push for transparency of fiscal data, and then also transparency in the oil revenue sector. And this is critical, this is key to what we are trying to achieve next. Just this morning, I was telling the governor of Central Bank, the Central Bank and all the other revenue generating agencies, fiscal agencies, budget office, accountant general's office, and so forth, we met to try to strengthen and clarify the type of data that we put out so that it is consistent, it is regularly put out, and that it is accurate. But in terms of where we go next, the key is investment. It is investment that allows increases in productivity, that grows the economy, that creates jobs. High quality jobs that lift Nigerians out of poverty in their millions, which is the aim of Mr. President. So we're trying to go from 7%, or trying to go to 7% growth. And I think, building momentum, that word momentum is in this, the title of this NDU. I sense and feel the momentum from the people I met yesterday that are interested in investing in telecoms, technology, broadband access, to the people I met yesterday who are opening a plant next month that will produce lubricants, not just for the Nigerian market, but for export to West Africa, the ECOWAS market, as well as the African continental free trade area, which is also the opportunity of the time. So I sense and I feel it's anecdotal for now, but it will reflect in the figures. There's a momentum to invest in Nigeria. And finally, I must also point out that a big part of this push forward is still focus on the social safety net, focus on not leaving people behind. And every effort is being made to digitize the way in which we reach out and directly help Nigerians who are so identified for help, with biometric, unique identification of everybody that is to be paid, and then payment through a digital mechanism, either a BVN, which means you have a bank account, or a mobile wallet. So I think that, in a nutshell, is what I would say is what is being provided, offered, and is being strategized on to provide the momentum to growth based on the fact that we are achieving a significant element of macroeconomic stability. Let me just refer us back to the heat map and the fiscal policy. Everything that is either green or orange, which means on its way, everything that's red is being done. And that is where the issue of, and I thought that Mr. Oloyede was going to refer to that, the emphasis on data, the emphasis on revenue generation, and ensuring that what is due to government comes into government's coffers. There's emphasis on all that, using technology, using the latest, making sure that we have the up-to-date data and so forth. And it was the governor of Central Bank that said that we should read. I'm not sure that Mr. Oloyede has read what the governor has written. I'm not sure, because when you look at his narrative on inflation, his narrative on the exchange rate and so forth, it is a bit out. But what I would say, Mr. Oloyede, you're a very good advocate, because what you are saying at the end of the day, that the government is on the right track. You talked about the framework. We have the National Development Plan. We have the medium-term economic framework, and we, of course, have the annual budget. But over and above that, we do have an environment that is giving confidence to investors. And let me give an example. You talked about, the government assisting investors. If you look at Lekki Port, huge investment, I think about almost 20 meters depth, the largest and most modern port in Nigeria. It will be a stranded transaction if not for last week's approval at the Federal Executive Council meeting for the 7th Axial Road that would go north, straight north from where the port is, instead of going west through VI. And that is a public-private dialogue and partnership, government and the private sector looking at an investment, seeing how best to protect it, agreeing it together, and government putting down the basic infrastructure, as you say. You also talk about industrial estates, and I'll end here, Nancy, because I know others have to contribute. The incentive framework that is in place, based on macroeconomic stability, both monetary and fiscal, as well as the government's commitment, promise, strategy, and policy of crowding in and relying on and trusting the private sector, has meant that we have an environment that is, for the first time, a level playing field. You talked about some of these industrial estates and some of these. You're basically talking about companies that went down or that have left. A lot of the time is because they couldn't survive. And Alex was telling us about the competitive environment. They can't survive this competitive environment. They cannot survive an environment where you have market-based foreign exchange rate, not privileged access, where you have a market-based petroleum products and eventually, of course, other key elements such as electricity, so that this competitive environment is rewarding excellence, is rewarding strength. And as for your, finally, you talked about the fact, look at the opportunity we have. You can sell a product for £1 in England. Of course, all you have to do is come and sit down, Minister of Trade, Minister of, or myself, and we will sit down and work it through. That's exactly what we did with Lekki Port and 7th Axial Road. There was no way it was on the plan. But when the investor came and said, look, I've invested this much, it's of benefit to Nigeria, this is what we need to make it work. And the government did it. Thank you.
HM, the question on NNPC, just a few seconds.
It's I call it a struggle over the spoils. The subsidy has been removed. And so what was going in subsidy, which after a while NNPC ended up paying, is now flowing, available to flow to the federation account. NNPC is saying, well, there was some backlog that is owed, so it's basically a conversation, it's a reconciliation, and it's a forensic audit. But at the end of the day, we'll make sure that what is due to the federation account, that is, whose beneficiaries are the federal, state, and local governments, and FCT, will come to the federation account. So it's a work in progress.